There is a version of you that will never solve your money problems. Not because you're not smart enough, not because you don't work hard enough, not because the economy is against you, but because you've been trying to fix the wrong thing. You've been treating money like a math problem, and money is not a math problem. Money is a mirror, and right now, that mirror is showing you something you don't want to see. Let me ask you something. How many times have you said, "This month I'm going to organize my finances"? How many times have you started a spreadsheet you never finished? How many times have you downloaded an app, entered your expenses for 3 days, and quietly abandoned it? And yet, the problem persists, month after month. The same cycle, the same dread at the end of the month, the same feeling of running in place. This is not a discipline problem. This is not a willpower problem. This is a structural problem. And the structure is invisible. That's exactly what I'm going to show you today. 3 steps, not tips, not hacks, not shortcuts. 3 fundamental shifts that separate people who are always fighting with money from people who have permanently resolved their relationship with it. And I'm warning you now, at least one of them is going to be uncomfortable. That discomfort is the point. Step 1. Stop managing money and start understanding your relationship with it. Meet Daniel. Daniel earns well, better than most people he knows. He has a good job, gets annual raises, lives in a decent apartment, and yet every single month he arrives at the 25th with a quiet panic in his chest. He doesn't know exactly where the money went. He knows he didn't buy anything crazy. He knows he's not irresponsible, but the money vanishes. Daniel tried budgeting apps. He tried the 50-30-20 rule. He tried cutting subscriptions. Nothing stuck. You know why? Because Daniel was trying to manage a symptom without ever diagnosing the disease. The disease has a name. Your emotional blueprint for money. Every single one of us grew up inside an invisible financial education. It wasn't taught in school. It wasn't written in a book. It was absorbed. It was absorbed in the silence between your parents after a bill arrived. It was absorbed in the phrase, "We can't afford that." Not said once, but dozens of times, in exactly the tone that made you feel that scarcity was normal. It was absorbed in watching the adults around you treat money like a source of shame, in conflict or mystery. And that education became your operating system. Your conscious mind can know every financial rule in existence. Your subconscious will override every single one of them if the emotional blueprint says otherwise. This is why people who win the lottery go broke within 5 years. This is why people who get massive raises find new ways to spend everything. This is why Daniel keeps running out of money even though, objectively, he earns enough. The first step is not to control your spending. The first step is to understand what spending means to you. When you buy something you don't need, what emotion precedes that purchase? Boredom, anxiety, a need for reward, a desire to feel in control of something when everything else feels uncontrollable? When you avoid looking at your bank account, what are you protecting yourself from? Not the number. The feeling the number produces. When you say, "I'll deal with it later," what exactly are you postponing? Not the bill. The confrontation with where you are versus where you wanted to be. Money problems are almost never about money. They are about the emotional meaning you have attached to money. And until you understand that meaning, no budget will save you. No app will save you. No raise will save you. The assignment for step 1 is simple but not easy. Write down the 3 clearest money memories from your childhood. Not lessons, memories, a specific moment, a specific feeling. What was said, what was felt, what conclusion your child brain drew from that experience. Those 3 memories contain the architecture of your current financial reality. That is where the work begins. Step 2. Transform your relationship with earning, not just spending. Here is the uncomfortable truth that most financial content refuses to say. Most people's money problems are not a spending problem. They are an earning problem. But not in the way you think. It is not that you don't earn enough. It is that you have an invisible ceiling on what you believe you are allowed to earn. That ceiling was installed by the same childhood environment we just talked about, and it operates with terrifying precision. Think about this. Every time you were about to charge what you were actually worth, and then lowered the price at the last second, every time a better opportunity appeared and you found a rational reason not to pursue it, every time someone praised your work and your first instinct was to minimize it, a time you got close to a real financial breakthrough and something went wrong. The car broke down, an emergency appeared, a relationship imploded. These are not coincidences. These are your nervous system performing a function it was trained to perform, keeping you within the boundaries of what feels safe and familiar. The brain doesn't distinguish between what is good for you and what is familiar to you. Familiar feels safe. Unfamiliar feels like threat. And if you grew up in an environment where financial abundance was unfamiliar, your nervous system will treat abundance as a threat and quietly sabotage it every time it gets close. This is what psychologists call the upper limit problem. The moment good things accumulate past a certain threshold, something in you pulls you back down. So the second step is this: raise the ceiling. Not by reading books about positive thinking, not by writing affirmations on sticky notes, by doing the one thing that actually rewires a nervous system: repeated exposure to new evidence. Spend time around people who have built genuine wealth and notice how ordinary they are. Notice that they are not smarter than you. Notice that they don't have access to a world that is closed to you. Notice that the primary difference between them and you is not intelligence, not luck, not opportunity. It is permission. They gave themselves permission to earn more, to want more, to have more without feeling guilty about it. You can give yourself that same permission, but it will feel like a violation before it feels like freedom. That discomfort, that specific feeling of, this is too much, this isn't really for me, that is the moment to stay, not run. Stay. Because on the other side of that discomfort is the version of you that has permanently stopped fighting with money. The assignment for step 2. Identify the number that represents your unconscious earning ceiling. It's probably the salary of the highest earner you personally knew. Growing up, it is the invisible line you keep circling without crossing. Write it down, then write a number that is twice that, and ask yourself, what would I have to believe about myself for that number to feel normal? Those beliefs are the ones you need to build. Step 3. Make peace with the machine. Stop fighting money and start working with it. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from years of financial stress. It is not physical exhaustion. It is the exhaustion of constant vigilance, the checking and rechecking, the mental math running in the background of every conversation, every decision, every moment of potential enjoyment, the quiet voice that says, "But can you really afford this?" This exhaustion does something insidious. It makes you want to stop thinking about money altogether, and that avoidance, that quiet, totally understandable refusal to engage, is the third structural problem. Because money does not reward avoidance. Money rewards attention, not obsession, not anxiety, not spreadsheets you maintain for 3 days and then abandon. Attention. Calm, consistent, non-judgmental attention. The difference between someone who has resolved their relationship with money and someone who is still fighting it comes down to this. One treats their finances as a reflection of their values and choices and reviews them regularly with curiosity. The other treats their finances as a source of potential shame and looks away. Looking away feels like relief. It is actually acceleration toward the problem. So the third step is deceptively simple. Every week, spend 20 minutes with your money. Not to judge yourself, not to feel guilty, not to make a perfect plan, just to look. Open the accounts, see the numbers, track the movement, notice what you spent money on, and ask, does this reflect the life I actually want to build? That question, does this reflect the life I actually want to build, is more powerful than any budget template, because it shifts the frame from restriction to intention. You are not cutting spending, you are making choices about what your money represents. A person who spends unconsciously is a person whose life is being written by default. A person who spends intentionally is a person who is authoring their own story. And here is what happens when you begin to look without flinching. The anxiety starts to decrease, not because the numbers improve immediately, but because uncertainty is always more terrifying than reality. Most financial situations, when looked at clearly, are solvable. It is the avoidance that makes them feel insurmountable. Then gradually, the behavior shifts. Because you cannot look at your money every week without beginning to make different decisions, not because someone told you to, because you see clearly what your decisions are producing, and you want something different. And then, slowly, then all at once, the cycle breaks. The assignment for step 3. Schedule a weekly 20-minute appointment with your finances. Put it in your calendar like you would a meeting with someone important. Because you are meeting with someone important. You are meeting with your future self and showing them that you are finally willing to do the work. Here is what these 3 steps are really about. They are not about money. They are about power. Specifically, reclaiming the power you unconsciously surrendered to money the moment you decided it was a source of stress rather than a tool in your hands. The people who have no money problems are not people who have no money challenges. They face the same rising costs, the same economic uncertainty, the same unexpected expenses. The difference is that they do not give money the power to define their sense of safety, their sense of worth, or their sense of possibility. They are the authors, not the audience. And that is a choice you can make, not tomorrow, not when the numbers improve, not when the situation gets easier. Today, right now, the moment you decide that your relationship with money is something you are going to understand, build, and master, not just endure, everything begins to change. Step 1. Understand your emotional blueprint. Step 2. Raise your earning ceiling. Step 3. Make peace with the machine. These are not 3 steps to financial perfection. They are 3 steps to financial freedom. And freedom, real freedom, starts inside. If this hits something in, you share it with one person who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to go deeper, the next video is already waiting for you.